A lot of research that we do around here is based on what we see around us, even if it ends up being something about global phenomena. And this research is no different. It began with an observation about so many public-private partnerships to fund big growth projects, like the Vikings Stadium, US Bank Stadium. It has a private investor, the owner of the Vikings, the Will family, but it also has a substantial minority investment from state agencies, the Metropolitan Sports Commission. And my co-author and I got interested in why that was the case. Traditionally, we looked at state co-investment as a way to plug a gap when the market wouldn't give you all the capital you needed. But here's the situation where you have plenty of private investors with a lot of money. So why do they bring on the state? A second explanation is the state comes in with a little bit of not just money, but also insurance or assurance. Assurance that the rules of the original investment by the private investors won't change. You're making an investment in a project that might have a 30-year life. Maybe the original rules on pricing, on all sorts of other things that the private investor thinks they get to do at the beginning could be changed by a government. But if the government's also an investor, well, then they're also a hostage. That same change will hurt not just the private investor, but also the state investment. So our research, what it shows is there's a sweet spot for state investment in big projects. And that sweet spot is as a minority investor, where the rules of the business game are volatile, where the original terms of the investment are vulnerable to being upended because policy stability is low. Judges are given to big changes, or regulators are given to big changes. That means state as a minority investor is really helpful in many developing country settings. But it also means, in a place like Minneapolis, it's superfluous. In fact, maybe it interferes just a little bit. So there's something to be learned from this research for what goes on in a place like Mozambique, but also in a place like Minnesota. And maybe it'll ask us, why is the state involved in a deal like the Vikings as an owner? Why not just be a regulator? Why not just be a judge? That's, after all, what the government's best at. If they were great at owning, then we'd have to remind ourselves of those 9 most terrifying words in the English language from Ronald Reagan. Those ones that say, I'm from the government and I'm here to help. They can help best by regulating, not owning.